Making its way to the front pages once again here in France.
Hello Stuart, it's back. Remember we spent most of last week, or the papers did at any rate, talking about how the Socialists and the Greens couldn't agree on nuclear. Back on the front pages today, François has got nuclear politician's nightmare, with several figures on the front page who've recently run into trouble over nuclear. Now, why is it on today's front pages? Well, it's because of this woman, Eva Joly, here on the front page of Le Figaro. She, of course, is the Greens candidate for next year's presidential election, and she's really used this nuclear issue to lay into Socialist candidate François Hollande in an interview that's published today. She says that she herself has always made a point of standing up against entrenched interests. She, of course, became famous as a campaigning lawyer and judge, and she's making that contrast because François Hollande last week was accused of deliberately trying to cover up a paragraph of the text that he signed to the agreement with the Greens in order to keep the nuclear company Areva happy. Now, as she says, the Socialists look like now they risk the suspicion of people thinking they're just the wood that the nuclear industry uses to make puppets out of.
And Nicolas Sarkozy, though, he seems to think that backing the nuclear industry is a good vote winner for him, doesn't he?
Sarkozy goes into battle for nuclear. That's a headline today in Le Parisien. They reckon the president has decided it's a big vote winner, that people are more worried about their rising electricity bills and possible rising unemployment than they are about a Fukushima-style catastrophe. So he's decided to make this a central point of his election campaign. There are at least one group of people, though, who won't be supporting that. If we have a look at an article in Libération, they're talking about a train that's set to leave northern France for Germany today, carrying a cargo of highly radioactive waste. Now, that's set to be blocked by a large group of Greenpeace-based protesters. You might remember last year one of these trains was blocked by over 50,000 people demonstrating against it, mostly in Germany. So Libération reports that police are taking no chances this time. There's a huge police presence and it's been banned to demonstrate anywhere near the railway line.
Okay, we shall see if anything crops up during the day here on France 24. Meanwhile, the ruling UMP, they've launched their latest economic programme.
Yeah, they plan to scrap the 35-hour week, which of course was the key economic proposal of the last socialist government here in France. Look at this front page here in Le Parisien. It kind of explains why they might want to scrap it. They say 35-hour week has caused chaos in hospitals. That's because medical staff, of course, work more than 45 hours. They get days off in lieu. They're allowed to accumulate those. And now they all have to be taken, the ones they've accumulated over the last 10 years, before the end of 2012. That's 2 million days, and there aren't enough staff to cover them all. If we have a look at the paper's cartoon, they've got a doctor telling Sarkozy, if the 35-hour week is causing chaos in hospitals, it could be fatal. And Sarkozy saying, well, we hope it is fatal. It might sort out pension policy. But a little bit more seriously, it is, of course, very dangerous if there aren't enough doctors in hospitals.
Yes. Well pointed out, Elena. Now, a very sad day here in France yesterday, because actually one of France's favourite, the former, very much loved First Lady, Danielle Mitterrand, she died yesterday. Papers full of tributes.
They absolutely are. Here she is on the front page of Libération, Danielle Mitterrand. Their editorial calls her the last link to a France that no longer exists. She was, of course, a resistance activist and later campaigned for lots of left-wing causes like more rights for asylum seekers, gay rights, environmental issues and so on. And they say she'll be much missed.
And finally, another elderly female celebrity, if that's one way you could describe her, I suppose. Back on France's front pages, Liliane Bettencourt.
Yeah, France's richest woman is here. If we look at Le Monde's cartoon, remember a few months ago she lent her name to a campaign to encourage the rich to pay more tax. They're laughing at that now. They've got her with a placard saying, I want to pay more tax in Switzerland, Luxembourg and in the Cayman Islands. That's because some investigative journalism from the site Mediapart found out that she had 12 offshore bank accounts in several of those areas, including 2 in Singapore. If we have a look at Mediapart today, they're celebrating because thanks to some of their digging, the French tax authorities have got hold of those accounts and they're going to impose the highest possible penalty that they can on France's richest woman. They're confiscating 40% of all the money that she hid there, and that adds up to 77.7 million euros for the taxman.
Yeah, watch out. If you have an offshore bank account, Mediapart will catch you out. All right, Elena, thanks very much. That's Elena looking at the French newspapers today here on France 24. Headlines again then, thousands camping out once again today in Paris.